volume 0%.
Good afternoon, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today I have for you Transformers Generations Black Zarek. This is, of course, based on the Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Scorponok mold, the Titan class of that year. And, well, I have to say, I understand now why the Scorponok is so expensive. I get it. This is a top quality Titan class, and well, before we get into it and talk about it, you found yourself on Blind Prime, More Than Meets the Eye, which is a channel and show developed to assist raising awareness for the blind through alternative means and methods. You know, in the More Than Meets the Eye, I describe the figures based on a blind person's perspective. Discuss the height, the weight, the dimensions, the molding, and stuff like that. But I never talk about paint. Screw paint. Everybody talks about paint. I don't care. This thing could just be, gray, and I wouldn't care. um, now, this is a present given to me by my good friend Garrison LaForge, a friend from college. In exchange, I gave him for Christmas a blue streak and a smoke screen from the Earthrise. The smoke screen was for his brother, and the blue streak was for him. Before I get into this, let's please go down below and do all the things that everybody else asks you to do. Now, let's get into this guy. I've been shooting this thing multiple times today, and something keeps happening. So quickly, before anything happens, let's review him. So, Black Zarek here, the Scorponok Titan mold, is massive. It's like the length of my arms almost. It's wild. It's so big. Where's my Bumblebee? Let's get my Bumblebee out here. Bumblebee. No, Bumblebee. Found him. So, Bumblebee here. Someone's going to put Bumblebee in the front next to the head, right in front of the head. Bumblebee stands nearly as tall as the head, but the head seems to be a head taller. That's a good one. Bumblebee here on the sides is as tall as the arms are, but you can of course raise the arms up and down. The arms are on some massive ratchets, so everything about these arms is ratcheted. Everything is ratchet joints. Let's put Bumblebee next to the head there and get a good photo op. Get Bumblebee in his claw. Get Bumblebee in the claw. The claw closed, it can hold a Bumblebee pretty well. Now Bumblebee stands up here. We're going to get to the tail. So we'll put Bumblebee on the Scorponok's back, right down here in this area where the legs connect. And you can see that the tail area is actually, I guess, another Bumblebee taller than Bumblebee at the tip of the tail. We can put Bumblebee up here closer to the front, and then we can have the tail bend down and stab it. I think this is fun. This is a really fun figure. I have been playing with this thing a lot, and I'm in this area, my kitchen, because I realized that he's just too big. He's just too big for my little studio. So I had to go to a place where there's a lot of room. Now let's twist him over to the side here, and get a size comparison with him in the back area. Bumblebee stands at the back legs, or the back end of the Scorpion, right before the tail. That end of the Scorpion is actually, I would say, average height for a deluxe figure, because it's a little bit higher than Bumblebee. That's pretty nice. That's a pretty cool thing. Let's slide the Bumblebee over there, and I'm going to ask y'all to sit in awe of this thing for just a moment while I grab the Lego scale.
S Pen disconnected. Insert your S Pen into your phone to reconnect it.
Alrighty, we have a basic Lego panel here, and we're going to go over it all real quick. The head. We're just going to talk about the head first. Can we get a good measurement of this head? Let's see, lining the finger up right there, and There we go. It's between two pegs. We'll go with the lower option. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 studs tall, like I thought. That is below average for a deluxe, but about average for a Bumblebee. So it's just a bit taller than Bumblebee. Right here on the normal side, on the arms at the extent, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 studs tall. And then we slide it all the way around here. All the way around. And we put it on the back end here at the very tail end of this guy. Ha! Tail end. He's a scorpion. He's got a tail. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. 15 studs tall, which is 15 to 17 studs is the average for deluxes that I have come across. And we're going to slide the scorpion back around and knock the Bumblebee over. Bumblebee, go right there. All right. Well, nuts. This thing fell off. So we're just going to set that there because that's pretty big. We're going to spin him all the way around. So you can look at his back area. Now, you see his back area here. You would expect there to be a lot of clutter or, negative spaces. There's these two right here at the right above where these clampy jaw bits are, but that's really it for the tail. There's the shield for one of his arms actually fits over the biggest negative zone, and that's a really nice, clever idea. There's of course this random hole right here, which I don't know why it's there, but you can fold it up to give the scorpion tail a little more presence, or you can just fold it down to, just fold it down. Now, we'll lower the incredibly long tail. There we go. So you can take a look at this, which is the panel right here at his chest. You hear other reviewers talking about the cockpit of Scorponok, and, you hear it, and you go, okay, I'm looking for something that's about the size of a cockpit in, like, Ape Face, or in, what's the other one? Dragon Snapdragon. Those type of cockpits. But no. This cockpit's huge. Like, this guy's got, like, the yacht of cockpits. So I'm going to pick the cockpit up, and we're going to talk about its size so you understand what took me a little while to figure out. And we're going to put it right, line everything up right there. And there we go. And that cockpit is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 studs in width. And in height, I don't know if I can actually get it in there for the good height. Okay, well, crud. It's too narrow for a good height, but we can get a kind of good height. So there it is. There's the kind of good height point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to go ahead and chalk on an extra 2 studs because we can. Let's double check that. Does it need 2 more studs? Yeah. Well, we'll chalk on 2 studs to make it 14 studs in height, which makes sense because our Bumblebee friend here, can stand here and it will be taller than him, but not by much, by about a head. It's a head taller. All right. Put Bumblebee back, and we're going to take out Black Zarek, or Zarek here, also known as Scorponok. I'm not really sure exactly on the history of Zarek here, except that he found the Scorponok body out in the middle of nowhere and changed it. So we could take him out of his cockpit area, and it's pretty easy to get him in that cockpit area if you... I know I can't really get the camera in there, but if you feel around, you'll find that it's pretty much flat, and there's some bumps and stuff, but then in the middle, almost directly in the center, there's a part that's sunken in what feels like a chair back. And that's actually kind of neat because you actually need that little section popped up to pull up this panel that's down there and go inside for storage. So that's really amazing, and I love that they did that. They took something that's functional and then they added a little more functionality to it so that it serves a dual purpose. Not only is it the seat for your Zarek, but it is also the area where you pull up the panel. I think that's neat. I thought that was really clever. That is a good use of space. Now we'll fold the tail back up. This tail never wants to fold right. I don't know if I did it wrong or if it's just like that. But the tail never wants to work with me. Not at all. Not at all. It's always so angry with me. And we'll put the black Zarek. There's points all over this Scorponok where you can put your little headmaster guy. And you'll find that there's siege peg bits where you can plug in blast effects for battle damage, the little ones that stick out a little bit further, the knobby bits that stick out further from your robots from the War for Cybertron line. And then if you feel around, you will find that there's occasionally a smaller peg that is usually lined up even with the molding. Like it's kind of recessed in there, and it's lined up with the molding. And if you find those smaller pegs, not the ones that jut out all the way, but the ones that are kind of sunken in, you can take your little headmaster dude and you just plug him into it. And that is a headmaster port for your headmaster to stand on. It took me a while to figure that out. People kept saying, you just plug your headmaster into these ports that are all over the place. And I'm going, well, it'd help if I understood what you were talking about. But there's another one over here on each of the arms, and we can plug him in. It's super tiny, and once you figure out which ones they are, and you can plug your black Zarek or your Scorponok into one of them, then you'll have an easier time finding the rest of them. They're dispersed all over the place, but there's one right there, so that Zarek here can stare at Optimus being crushed by the claw, and he can sit there and have his maniacal laughter, or maybe even his monologue. Yes, Optimus, you don't understand how my plan is put together. Let me explain it to you in excruciating detail. So, Zarek here, he can go over here. I think there's another one on this hand too, somewhere. They're interdispersed. Yep, there it is. It's in the same exact place on each of the arms. It's just that the one here on the chest is off center. The other ones are all over the place. You just gotta look for them. That's pretty cool. I love that they did that. You can actually put more headmaster people up here. So we're gonna open the cockpit again, which is a little difficult to open. My best bet for opening the cockpit is if you feel the two sides of the area, this weird vent area and this rectangular vent portion, you feel below that, and there's this dip followed by a quick rise. And if you notice, it feels sort of like two separate mountain peaks. You get these two, you get this bigger rise in the middle, and then it dips down into like a valley thing and then further up again. But on either side, you got these little solid points. But if you feel right between the smaller peaks and the bigger peaks, you can grab right there and pull up this cockpit, which is pretty nice. And I hope I just described that correctly. Oh, it took me a minute to try and figure out how to describe that. All right, so we'll put the little guy back in the cockpit and we'll shut it. And this is important if you have bad vision. Put your Zarek in the cockpit whenever you're not playing with him. Put him somewhere safe, because you're gonna lose him. He is easy to lose. All the headmasters are easy to lose, especially when you own cats. Texture-wise on this thing, it's got the same texture that you had in the robot mode, except the head is different, but not by much. You literally pick the helmet up on a joint and pull out a piece of plastic that covers the faceplate, and then you put the head back down, and then you lower his ears down just a bit, and they can be like little graspers for his mouth. Articulation-wise, you got plenty in both of the arms. I mean, more than you would expect. And each of the legs, there's 4 on each side, so he's got 8 legs. They each have 2 separate hinges, and then in groupings of 2, they are also hinged. So I guess that would make it 4 and 5 hinges per grouping of 2 legs. So that's 10, 20 points of articulation in the legs alone, which is pretty amazing. The tail itself has got some amazing articulation. there's siege ports galore. You remember? I don't know if I've actually done Omega Supreme or not, and but the biggest thing I was upset with Omega Supreme was there were no siege ports. There were no siege ports anywhere, but at the ends of his claws or the end of the big blasty gun on his other hand. He had he had one on each leg, and that's really it. It was upsetting because I wanted siege ports. I wanted to just load up Omega Supreme with all the guns, especially when he's in base mode. That's the part that really upset me about his siege ports. Is he didn't have many in base mode. This guy makes up for it. He's got plenty in base mode, and we're going to go over him in his base mode. I like his base mode. I'm a big guy for the base modes. And yeah, guys, this is definitely a must-have figure for your collection if you can afford it, and I keep sliding him over. He is big, he is burly, and he doesn't ever stop being cool. This is one amazing figure, and it's one that I suggest anyone gets. It's made out of all the right plastics. It's got all the right weight to it. Ratchets are all in the right spots. I don't really, except for the fact that this tail doesn't seem to connect well in the Scorpion mode. That's it. That's all I got to say negative about this Scorpion mode. I love it. I love the hell out of this Scorpion mode, guys. And I hope that you can find yourself a Black Zarek or Scorponok and enjoy them as much as I have enjoyed this one. But Merry late Christmas to you all. Happy late Boxing Day. And have a Happy New Year. And I will see you next Prime. Bye-bye for now. Mm.